Zionist movement emerges, late 19th century. The late 19th century saw the rise of the Zionist movement, spurred by increasing anti-Semitism in Europe. Theodor Herzl, an Austrian journalist, is often considered the father of modern political Zionism. In 1896, Herzl published Der Judenstaat, the Jewish State, advocating for the establishment of a Jewish homeland in Palestine. The Zionist movement gained traction among Jewish communities worldwide, leading to the formation of organizations like the World Zionist Organization, WZO, in 1897. Balfour Declaration, 1917. The Balfour Declaration, issued by British Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour in 1917, expressed support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, then under Ottoman rule. The declaration was a significant diplomatic milestone, reflecting growing international recognition of Jewish aspirations for statehood. However, it also laid the groundwork for future conflict between Jewish and Arab inhabitants of Palestine. British Mandate period, 1920 to 1948. Following World War I, the League of Nations granted Britain a mandate over Palestine, with the aim of preparing the territory for self-government. During this period, Jewish immigration to Palestine increased, driven by factors such as persecution in Europe and the Zionist goal of establishing a Jewish homeland. However, Arab opposition to Jewish immigration and land purchases grew, leading to tensions and periodic outbreaks of violence. UN Partition Plan, 1947. In 1947, the United Nations proposed a partition plan for Palestine, recommending the creation of separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem as an international city. While Jewish leaders accepted the plan, Arab leaders rejected it, viewing it as unjust and disregarding the rights of the Arab population. The partition plan's failure to gain Arab acceptance set the stage for the Arab-Israeli War. Declaration of the State of Israel, 1948. On May 14, 1948, David Ben-Gurion, the head of the Jewish Agency, declared the establishment of the State of Israel, marking the culmination of decades of Zionist efforts. The declaration was met with jubilation among Jews worldwide but triggered immediate conflict with neighboring Arab states, who rejected the legitimacy of the new Jewish state. War of Independence, 1948 to 1949. Following Israel's declaration of independence, armies from Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Iraq, and Lebanon invaded the new state, seeking to prevent its establishment and support Palestinian Arabs. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, Israeli forces successfully defended the fledgling state and even expanded its territory, solidifying Israel's existence on the map. 1956 Suez Crisis. The 1956 Suez Crisis was a pivotal moment in the Middle East, involving Israel, Britain, France, Egypt, and the Soviet Union. It began when Egyptian President Gamal Abdel Nasser nationalized the Suez Canal, previously controlled by Britain and France. In response, Israel, Britain, and France launched a military campaign to regain control of the canal. However, international pressure, particularly from the United States and the Soviet Union, forced the aggressors to withdraw, signaling a shift in global power dynamics. Six-Day War, 1967. In June 1967, tensions between Israel and its Arab neighbors reached a boiling point, culminating in the Six-Day War. Israel launched a preemptive strike against Egypt, Jordan, and Syria, resulting in a swift and decisive victory. Israeli forces captured the Sinai Peninsula, Gaza Strip, West Bank, and Golan Heights, dramatically altering the geopolitical landscape of the region. Yom Kippur War, 1973. The Yom Kippur War, also known as the October War, broke out on October 6, 1973, when Egypt and Syria launched a surprise attack on Israel during the holiest day in Judaism, Yom Kippur. The coordinated assault caught Israel off guard, leading to initial setbacks. However, Israeli forces regrouped and launched a counteroffensive, pushing back Arab forces. The war ended in a ceasefire, with Israel maintaining control of the territories captured in 1967. Camp David Accords, 1978. The Camp David Accords, brokered by U.S. President Jimmy Carter, brought together Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin and Egyptian President Anwar Sadat for peace negotiations. The accords resulted in a historic peace treaty between Israel and Egypt, the first between Israel and an Arab state. As part of the agreement, Israel returned the Sinai Peninsula to Egypt in exchange for normalized relations. First Intifada, 1987 to 1993. The First Intifada, or uprising, began in December 1987, as a grassroots Palestinian revolt against Israeli occupation in the West Bank and Gaza Strip. Sparked by frustrations over Israeli policies, such as land confiscations and settlement expansion, the Intifada was characterized by mass protests, strikes, and acts of civil disobedience. The uprising drew international attention to the Palestinian cause and contributed to diplomatic efforts to resolve the conflict. Oslo Accords, 1993. The Oslo Accords marked a significant breakthrough in Israeli-Palestinian relations. Negotiated in secret meetings in Oslo, Norway, between Israeli and Palestinian officials, the accords aimed to achieve peace through mutual recognition and the establishment of Palestinian self-government in parts of the occupied territories. The signing of the accords on the White House lawn in 1993, with Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin and PLO Chairman Yasser Arafat shaking hands, raised hopes for a lasting peace. Assassination of Yitzhak Rabin, 1995. The assassination of Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin on November 4, 1995, by a Jewish extremist opposed to the Oslo Accords, shocked the nation and the world. Rabin, who had been a leading advocate for peace with the Palestinians, was gunned down at a peace rally in Tel Aviv. His death dealt a severe blow to the peace process, plunging Israel into a period of uncertainty and political turmoil. Second Intifada, 2000 to 2005. The Second Intifada, also known as the Al-Aqsa Intifada, erupted in September 2000, following a visit by then-opposition leader Ariel Sharon to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. The uprising was marked by a wave of Palestinian suicide bombings, shootings, and Israeli military incursions. The violence and bloodshed claimed thousands of lives on both sides and further deepened the divide between Israelis and Palestinians. Disengagement from Gaza, 2005. In August 2005, Israel implemented a unilateral disengagement plan, evacuating all Jewish settlements from the Gaza Strip and withdrawing its military forces. The decision to withdraw from Gaza, led by Prime Minister Ariel Sharon, was controversial but aimed at reducing friction with the Palestinian population and advancing peace efforts. However, the disengagement also led to internal divisions within Israel and criticism from some quarters. Second Lebanon War, 2006. The Second Lebanon War broke out in July 2006 after Hezbollah militants in Lebanon crossed the border into Israel, killing and capturing Israeli soldiers. Israel responded with a massive military campaign targeting Hezbollah strongholds and infrastructure in Lebanon. The conflict resulted in significant civilian casualties and destruction on both sides, with Hezbollah launching rockets into northern Israel and Israeli airstrikes causing widespread devastation in Lebanon. Gaza Wars, 2008 to 2009, 2012, 2014. Israel has engaged in a series of military offensives in the Gaza Strip, primarily targeting Hamas and other militant groups launching rockets into Israeli territory. The conflicts, which erupted in 2008 to 2009, Operation Cast Lead, 2012, Operation Pillar of Defense, and 2014, Operation Protective Edge, have resulted in thousands of casualties, including many civilians, and widespread destruction in Gaza. The wars have drawn international condemnation and calls for a peaceful resolution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital, 2017. In December 2017, U.S. President Donald Trump officially recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and announced plans to relocate the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. The decision, which overturned decades of U.S. foreign policy and disregarded Palestinian claims to East Jerusalem as their capital, sparked widespread protests across the Middle East and drew condemnation from the international community. Abraham Accords, 2020. The Abraham Accords, brokered by the Trump administration, marked a significant diplomatic breakthrough in the Middle East, as Israel normalized relations with the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Sudan, and Morocco. The agreements, aimed at fostering cooperation in areas such as security, technology, and trade, represented a departure from the traditional Arab stance of refusing to engage with Israel without a resolution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Ongoing conflict and peace efforts, 2021 to 2024. Despite occasional diplomatic breakthroughs and efforts to revive peace negotiations, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains unresolved, with continued violence, settlement expansion, and mutual distrust undermining prospects for peace. Regional dynamics, including the shifting balance of power, the rise of non-state actors, and external interventions, further complicate efforts to achieve a lasting resolution to the conflict. However, ongoing grassroots initiatives, international diplomacy, and people-to-people exchanges offer glimmers of hope for a peaceful future in the region.